Good evening, everybody. Praise Jesus. Number one, answer to everything. Answer to everything. Welcome. I'm going to. Oso's already backstage, so I'm just going to invite her on right now. Hello, Oso. How are you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Hi,
I
Stephen.
almost forgot. I almost forgot to say welcome to the show.
Do you see what I wrote in there in the
Oh,
comment
now I
section?
do. Yeah, it just showed up. That's our delay, right? I think that I'm the only one here. No, there's four.
It's just me and you today.
Well, do you remember that time we did?
hmm
It's like 2 hours. There's like one person in the thing,
Yeah. I,
but you
I
know
thought
what?
that was cool. I liked that one.
That was one of our best shows.
Yeah,
I thought.
I thought so too. I mean, I thought it was a great show. Yeah, only one person.
And like,
So it was
but
awesome.
like, but think about that, right? If you're one person, right, and if you're one person and you're sitting in a cat and you're listening to a conversation with two people, right? They never like can never run out of things to say to each other, with um, the way things are out there in the world and just how much joy and peace and safety and security that God brings to us, right? Think of like how blessed, like if you didn't know God, right, to find that somewhere out there,
hmm
That's what I
Yeah.
think of. Hello, Angelina. Hello, Hannah's here, and it's only a few in the chat. But
hmm
so
I was
Stephanie,
saying hi to people too.
Stephanie's getting off work, and then so like, whenever she can make it, then she will a few minutes or whatever. I even
Mm,
asked like if anybody wanted to start late, really, because of man, there's so much going on, right? Like, so after the show, um, I think I talked to Michael a little bit, and then I just like rested, like for like I don't know, no, for like I don't know. It feels like I slept like 2 hours, and I woke up and I slept another hour and a half. So it was like a big chunk of sleep, right? I'm like, oh, I feel so good. And
mhm.
then I woke up to like messages all over my phone, right? Like, and and everybody was saying, or like I would say a quarter of the people were saying, oh, Canada, something happened to Canada, it's all shut down. And
What? I have not heard anything. I
well,
I I'm so out of the loop. Tell me what
well,
happened.
so Michael told me, right, that the internet went down out there or something like that. I don't know, like something with the internet. I don't know if shut down kind of sounds pretty strong, but it was like because I was like, what do you mean shut down? He's like, no one could go to the store, no one could do this. No, I'm like, how do we know? There's no news coming from there if it's like shut down, right? And
Right.
so he said, yeah, there's no internet up there. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty big. I mean, pretty big news. And then I scrolled down to where Angelina's message was. And I was reading something about something tethered to the sun, and I'm like, "What?" And then it was like from like 10 years ago, like something like this was tethered to the sun 10 years ago, or something, some image from a long time ago. But I'm like, "What do
Mhm.
you mean something's tethered to the like in my mind, right?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"Is this today happening, right?" So I'm like, just woke up. I hear Canada has no internet, and and
Get
something's
used to it,
tethered to the sun.
Stephen.
It's
Get get used to having something happen every day.
Yeah, yeah. That's what that, and so that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is that every
I
day
mean,
something is
it's
gonna happen?
coming at us so fast, and can you imagine during the tribulation when it's gonna be coming at people so fast that their heads are gonna be spinning? I mean, it's not even oh
They're
my
not gonna
goodness.
believe it. They're not gonna believe it.
No, okay, last night I was having a conversation with somebody who I'm trying my hardest to wake up. And,
Yeah.
I was just even like, Lord, am I supposed to, is it about time for me to shake the dust off? Like, what, I've already planted the seed. It might just be time to shake the dust off. I'm not quite sure, Lord. Do you really want me to call this because they said you can call if you want. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, okay, Lord, this is up to you. Well, I did. I called, and I just, all I got was this kind of a conversation like, well, I found my TV remote. I was looking for that for a long time. I found my TV remote, and I was like,
Wow.
and then they said that they wanted to watch the Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee show. They've been wanting to watch that for a long time. And so they finally watched that. And it was grieving me. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm supposed to shake the dust off. I go, but I couldn't at that point because I was already on the phone, and I said, "I'm sorry." I go, "You're talking to the wrong person about that kind of stuff." I go, "I feel really bad to say, like, uh, to
Yeah.
not have anything to say about that, but I go, just so you know, I it just grieves me to hear like anybody paying attention to celebrities right now, since they are designed to keep you distracted and away from the truth of what's really out there. And whether you understand it or not, something is coming very, 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 very soon.
Yeah.
And it could be in September. It could be,
Tomorrow.
it could be tomorrow. It could be in a couple years. But the fact of the matter is if you are not ready, then the Bible says that men's hearts are going to fail for what they see coming on the earth. They are not going to be prepared. And if you are not prepared, if you are looking at things of the world, which is that, I couldn't even stop myself. I was just like, if you're looking at the things of the world, then you are not going to be prepared, and you're not going to be able to make good decisions for your family. Because I said, what is going to happen is you are going to be forced if because he owns a business. I said, you will not be able to operate a business if you do not take this MOTB, except for I said it
Right.
out
Yeah.
loud, and I can't say it on here because they don't like that.
Toxination.
Yes. No,
Mm.
no, no.
Oh,
MOTB.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
marked.
yeah.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
don't they don't like us to talk about that. But the
They
thing
don't.
is that I said, "You will be forced out of civilization. You will not be able to go see grandma," because he said that he took his toxination because he had to in order to see grandma. And I
Yeah.
said, "You know what? You will not be able to go see grandma. You will not be able to operate and run a business. You will not be able to buy or sell unless you take this, and it's coming soon. So
Yeah.
you have to know about these things." And I go, and I'm sorry, it grieves me when I think about people
Yeah.
fall, and so I thought, that's fine. That is fine. If he is not going to listen, then I do have to shake the dust off. And so that was a good exit, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, I've been loving, I've been, you know, giving him little seeds, but I
Good.
think that was like a separation time where it's like, okay, if you want to know anything more, you can come to me. I'm not going to like deny you. I'm not going to say goodbye forever. I'm not going to say I don't want to talk to you. I'm just going to say, like, if he says you can call me if you want, I won't be calling because I don't want to talk about celebrities and finding TV remote controls. And that
Pamela
I'm so
Anderson
for
and
remote.
Tommy
I
Lee
mean,
have a show.
what was that?
Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson have a show.
apparently there was a movie, the story, the Pamela
That
Anderson story, and
sounds
Tommy Lee's
horrific.
story. Sounds horrific. Sounds like a complete waste of time.
You can
Like,
listen to the book of First and Second Thessalonians in under 20 minutes, both of them.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
why
Why
waste
would
your time?
anybody want to watch that? It just grieved me. It totally grieved me. I was like, whoa, I
I
can't
don't
believe,
blame you.
and it just, I was like, Lord, please, and so now I'm just like fervently praying
Well,
that God
that's
will wake him up, because I mean, give him ears to hear, give him eyes to see, let somebody else come and start watering those seeds, because it is not for me to completely wake him up 100%. It's not. I water, I plant,
that's right.
another waters, and it's time for somebody else to do it, because I'm just, it's going to start sounding like I'm hounding, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I struggle with the most, right? Is like if it was just me on my own, like I feel happy. I know where I'm going. I'm full of joy and peace and all that. Dude. Like I grieve for other people and wanting them to be
Mhm.
awake. And so at the end of my shows, every show I end it with it's time to hit the dusty trail, right? To remind myself, right, that that's something that's the hardest thing for me to do is to know when to quit and to know I used to two mistakes I used to make is one, I wanted to wake people up from beginning to end, all on my own.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Right. And
Mhm.
it's God creates every believer, right? It's not a sales job. I can't convince anybody. It's just small little seeds, small
Right.
little seeds, and then like
Right.
you're saying, knowing when to walk away. But that's hard for us, right? Because we're like, oh no, I want you to get this.
And that's what I said last night. I was like, just the problem, the thing is, not the problem, but the thing is that I love you.
Yeah,
And it's hard for me to watch my friends and my family just like
we're running out of
not
time.
not getting it and not understanding that this is real. And so, yeah, I understood that was God. I think that's God's way of saying, let somebody else do it now. You did what you were supposed to do. And now if he has any questions, if he has anything that he wants to um,
Be
ask,
available, right?
then
Just
I will be available here.
good.
Yes. But it is not for me to send videos, to send anything, to do anything, anymore, to even say anything. It's just that we have, what business does light have with darkness? I mean, I don't have anything to say. Like, all right, you found your TV remote. Woohoo. Like, no, I
Right.
don't have any. I just, and it's really interesting how there are
Yeah.
actually that people that are so
Indoctrinated at this point, right?
just blind to what's going on, and to,
Mhm.
just so far under the spell that kind of stuff is a big news for them, like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm I don't deserve to even be awake, and
Right. Right.
in that was all God. I didn't. I could have been that right there with having
Yeah.
a conversation and just being like, oh yeah, all right.
Stephanie's here. Can I invite her to the show real quick?
No.
Hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the show. How are you doing? Go ahead, Elsa. I didn't
Hi,
mean to
I
interrupt
love you.
you.
Have a good
Love
weekend.
you too.
Hi, Jessica. Hi. Wait. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'll see you guys Monday. I'll see you Monday. I'll see
Oh,
you tomorrow.
Oh, I thought she was
All right.
talking
Love
to
you.
me. I
I
love
do
you
love you guys,
too.
though. I'm sorry. Well, on it. Well, really, I was on mute, and then I was like, well, you were talking, and it doesn't matter. That was
Well,
that.
it
So
applies
yeah,
to all, right?
it really, really, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I'm leaving very late. It was busy, but yeah, that was. I'm here. Hi,
Hi.
and I
yeah,
love you.
good shit. Yes, yes.
Okay. Oh goodness.
That's awesome.
And so we were talking about like when to not, shake the dust, so to speak, right? Or when to give up, right? When, as far as trying to wake up family members to the point where, we don't want to cause damage, but we want to try as much as we can.
Right. I don't think we
That
give
line.
up though. I don't think we
Right.
ever give up.
Right,
Ever.
right, 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 right.
But we
Oh
do
no,
step
pray.
back.
He's going to. I mean, I
Yes.
seriously, I don't like when I pray for someone,
Mm-hmm.
I know he's going to. I did, and I take away like time limits because he's outside of time, so I don't worry about that because then it can bring in doubt, you know. I really like. I don't even like. I don't pray continuously about it because I know he's going to do it, you know. And then
Yeah.
like every now and then I'll like thank him during my prayers for doing it, but like I don't know because like I kind of feel like if I keep praying for something, then well, when I was doing that, it was like I was praying and it's almost like well then it didn't happen or I'm not sure, and so it was like each time I was re-asking for it, but it's kind of weird when I start thinking about it because then I'm like, well, just because it's not done yet means that I have to keep asking. But I don't know. He kind of just, I don't know, just he made me realize that I ask and I know it's going to be done. You know, I thank him
Yes.
and it will be done because it can kind of like cause like my prayer like so say like I pray for something and then it doesn't happen like each time I pray. So it starts off and I have a lot of faith, right? But then somehow in my mind, like each time I prayed, it would be like a little bit less. And it was because I was putting my prayers on like my timeline and not his, you know? And so I do, you know, it's not our prayers that do it, it's our faith, you know? So I ask for it and I keep my faith in that and that's where he works at, you know?
Stephanie, it's I went through I've gone through this thing where I we read about the persistent widow who God wants us to be persistent in prayer and fervent in prayer always. And continuing to ask. But the thing is that I started asking and I was like, please, Lord, and but the thing is, I couldn't once I started praying like that, I was like, what am I talking about? Like you're not gonna do it because I know you are. But I think that, I got that parable mixed up with, begging, and there's no need to beg. It's
Yeah,
just
there's
persistent,
you're right. And that's it too, because it can almost then like okay, I'm gonna only speak for me because that's all I can speak for with my relationship with him. Like it would sometimes sound like then I'm begging because then because I'm continuing to ask. So you're so right. And then also like as I'm like because as I thought that's such a good way to put it. And then as I'm doing it, it's like so it is like I'm losing faith because it's like I'm thinking in my mind like I have to like because it's not our prayers like we don't it's we're not saying it such a great way or using the perfect words that makes him do anything right like
Mhm.
he does it right like it
Right?
doesn't matter how we say it our prayers like it's not how our prayers they don't it's him and it's through our faith so it's just when we do things or even like if I'm praying for healing for someone like if we add to like when I add too many words or like it kind of can turn it into like where I'm trying to make it really strong and powerful and it just kind of takes away from God and my faith isn't behind it when it really
Mhm.
is as simple as like be healed in the name of Jesus it's
Right.
all him and so that's why I can only speak for me because for me the more I talk the less faith I'm having and like it's just it kind of I'm not it's because it kind of turns into like okay because okay for example like Jesus tells us when we pray for something we thank him as in like we've already received it because and that means like we have so much confidence that he's going to answer our prayer that we are thanking him and we have gratitude like it's already in our hands right so like that is truth and that is what I do so when you do that and then you thank him and then the next day I'm praying for the same thing and thanking him it loses its it's not as strong like for me I just it kind of doubt would come in and so it would stop being like it wouldn't be
Real.
gratitude it would more be like begging like what you said and then like
Mhm.
hoping and I don't want to hope I want to know he says whatever we
Right.
ask for like yeah yes and amen so I pray and then I know it'll be done
It when you said that your prayers, the more words that you use, it's so funny because you could actually yeah, that would put it on you. Like you have the
Like I have
ability.
something to do with it. Yeah,
Right,
it has
right.
nothing to do with it,
Mhm.
because there's even a way where, you can hear people throw in all these verses, and I mean, and there's times where the Holy Spirit will lead us to do that, because maybe even for the person to hear, maybe they don't know about certain things, and so the Holy Spirit wants to pierce them with that piece of scripture, because it is truth, right? But it's not anything we say. It really is Him, and so I don't know. And for me, that's amazing, because it takes all the pressure off, right? Because we can get in a place, if we're, especially if we're praying with someone, like, if we walk up to someone, or, and, we're praying for them, and because it takes away the pressure, because when you just realize, this is someone that I want to love through God, right? And it has nothing to do with me. It's only about Him, and He loves this person. So it doesn't matter what I say. And that removes all pressure. Like, it makes, do you know what I mean? Like, He just makes it so easy,
And see,
where there's no reason not to do that.
I also noticed that, like, when I talk to God, right, like, just the more to the point that I am, like, the more things happen. Like, it's just tell God what you want, tell God what you would like help with, and
Yeah,
it's simple, right?
yeah.
It's simpler than sometimes than we make it, right?
Right. And then, I mean, there's so much more than just like talking to Him. Like, prayer is, our relationship, like speaking with Him, but not just going to Him when we need something or want something. And I don't even
Right.
mean for ourselves. Like, I mean, I think a lot of times we're probably just praying for other people. We're not, because you get to a point where we're not focused on ourselves. So even though it's for other people, we're going to Him, and we're intercessing, and praying on others' behalf. But it really is about going to Him. I mean, even just to like let Him know how awesome He is, and just, I don't know, talk to Him. Like, just even speaking to Him with like gratitude. There's so much happens when we have gratitude, because if we can get to a place where, you know um, we just, when gratitude goes away, it really can get stuck on us, and then we'll start to feel, just
That's
I don't know
interesting.
it.
That's actually interesting that you said that, because about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I started doing a gratitude list every morning. And at first, it was like, four things were on that list. Like, it was really sad, right? But like, the more you do it, there's so many things it would be nonstop. I could never stop
Right.
writing things I'm grateful for, right? It's crazy,
Yes,
right?
it really is. But you know how easy it is, and it's to forget these things. And I don't mean like, because we like He promises us trials and tribulations. And so the thing is, it's so the way we walk through those with joy is just with our eyes on Him. But I mean, when we are always remembering these things that He did for us, then that gratitude, it doesn't go away. Like, and so not letting things that are happening, remove those, right? Like, it's just really important, because it's still just as important. Like, I still am just as grateful now that, like, of course, one, for Jesus, like, that's the ultimate sacrifice. I will never lose gratitude for that. Like, that is always going to be, at the top of my list. That is Him showing how much He loves us. And then for the day that He revealed Himself to me, like, there's, like, it's not ever gonna just get old to me. Like, my heart is always gonna just feel on fire for that. Like, that He changed my life from that. And so I think a lot of us, like, if we can, because you'll hear people like, because, like, especially, when we first come born again, I was in the fellowship. Jake and I, actually, that's where we met each other. But the girl had been a Christian for a long time, and she kind of said things to us like, well, you'll see as you get further on, like, basically speaking to us as like death into the relationship, right? Like, telling us, well, you'll know more about it, and like, why it can get tiring and draining, and I get it. Like, I wasn't like upset with her, but it made me sad, because I did understand what she was saying, and but I didn't even want to give my mind a place to think that was possible. Because, if I would have said, oh, yeah, Kendall, you're right, I can see that, then maybe it would have been possible for me. But I just was like, the way I felt then, and the way how amazing Jesus is, I didn't even want to give that a space in my heart. And so, if anything, I love Him even more now than I did 3 years ago. I don't want it to grow, just, I don't want my heart to wax cold. It's just, and there's ways we can do it. It's just by not allowing ourselves to believe these things that are like, human standards, or what humans like, because of their experience.
Well, I remember you telling me, right? like when I would say little things like, well, you know, nobody's perfect, or you know, we can move mountains, but we probably won't be moving, you know, things like this, right? Like, but like the way that you were like talking to me was like, all these things are possible. You can be perfect. You can do all things, right? Like you can move
Well, no, it's not
mountains.
about
Like,
perfection, right? Yeah. Well, you
no,
threw
no, but
that
I
one.
get what you're saying,
Right?
right?
Yeah. I did
There's
talk
little
about being
things.
perfect, but I'm saying because it's not about being perfect. It's about
Yeah,
so we don't do it because
I
we want to be
love that.
perfect, right? Yeah, we
Yeah,
do it because we want to be like Jesus. So it's not. We don't need to set limits. That's a human thing that we do. You know, we're like, well, how far can this get, or where am I at? Like, but with God, anything is possible. So I don't even allow myself to go there. You know, like I'm never gonna be like, okay, I'm good enough. You know, I love people just enough. This is good for me. You know, I want every bit of grace that He has to pour into me. You know, and if we think that, you know, some things, if I think, well, that's not possible. People can't always be a certain way, that they can't always do that. Well, if I think that, then that's going to be true for me because, you know, I'm believing that, right? So instead, I don't even allow that. I believe what He says, that, you know, we can follow Him, we will follow Him, and that we will do as Him, and much more, you know?
When today, it's when you were talking about gratitude and everything, I was reading about when they got on the boat and they were kind of afraid because you know, the wind was blowing, but they had just witnessed this miracle of how of the bread, you know, and the loaves. They had just witnessed it. And it's in Mark 6:52. It says, for they can
Right,
he went up unto them. They had forgotten. He said, for they had considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was
right,
hardened. And I just prayed and I was like,
right.
Lord,
I mean, but even think
let
about the Israelites, right?
yeah, yeah,
Sorry, keep going.
that
I mean, but there's
well,
a
it's
thing. It's like
easy
they
to
were with Him,
forget.
they saw Him, you know?
Yeah, it's easy to forget all these little tiny, you know, like little tiny. I mean, that was a big, huge miracle, and so was with the
Yeah,
Israelites too. And so, you know, I think, Lord, you know, as I look at my life, there's so many miracles and so many things that are going on, and I'm focusing on this thing that I want gone. You know what it is, Stephanie. I'm focusing
yeah.
on
The thing that
that,
is gone. Uh huh.
the thing that
Yeah,
is gone. Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I, you know, that I fail, you know, I'm like, Lord, don't let my heart be hardened. Do not let me forget what you are doing for me currently. That is just an amazing miracle that I don't deserve. And don't let my heart be hardened. Don't let me forget these miracles that you are doing for me daily, providing for me, making sure that I have everything that I need and growing me. And, you know, just like from here to there, from 3 months ago to now, even, you know, just the amount of growth and just the things that have happened in the last 3 months, as far as people around me and the things that are happening. And I'm sure it's for everybody. Do we forget 3 months ago what He's doing? I mean, are our hearts going to be hardened because of what we are looking for the next? You know,
Well,
I
no,
don't
I
want to
mean,
be
if
like
we,
that.
I truly, I don't think, okay, and I'm not because we are better, because like, that's why I don't even, it's not about, I would never say, well, I wouldn't do that, or, you know, I don't see how they could just wander around and how they were always complaining. Like, I think I would be the exact same. Like, I don't think that I am any better, you know,
right.
so it's not in
Right.
that way, but at the same time, they also weren't born again, right? Like, they weren't yet. So there's a difference where you know, like, for instance, would that have happened after? I don't think so. Not with them, right? Because once they're born again and they literally have this God spirit inside of them, then there's such a big change. So instead of it being like, so like now, I'm just I'm grateful. I'm grateful that He, for everything that He's done. And then also though, I just more than anything ask Him to parent me. So instead of seeking for things that could happen to me, like, oh, don't let me get tired of this, or don't let this happen, I just really put my trust in Him
Mhm.
to always
Okay.
let me know when that happens. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so, because I
Yeah.
don't even want to think about that. Like, I know He loves me so much that if something is going wrong in my heart, He's going to show me, you know, and up until
Well,
this point,
yeah.
He has. Like, that's just what He does, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I don't know. He's amazing. Like always. And no, how you do it's fine. I'm just saying that's just, I give it, I really keep my mind like just focused on everything he has done. And really, because this, I never would have made it here without him. He did every single thing, right? Like I can't even count on myself to not be deceived. Like I'm not, like he keeps me from being deceived, right? He's the one
Mm-hmm.
that even shows me when, like he's the one that gives me more gratitude to get back to him. Like it's so ridiculous how just amazing he is, that it's, and how little it is from me. So I
Mm-hmm.
trust him. I trust him that if I because
Uh-oh.
otherwise I'm going to be, instead of focusing on him, I'm going to be worrying about, some of those things become in our minds, like, well, I don't want this to happen and I don't want this to happen. Like instead I'm just like, I give it to you and I know you're not going to allow that to happen. Oh, that's hot.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was in, if I think about it, I hadn't forgotten about the things that he had done, and that in itself just was like, I never want to do that. And he knows that.
Right.
And so it wasn't like I had forgotten about all the things. I was very grateful and thankful for everything that I have. And he knows that I'm grateful and thankful every day. And so just reading that passage just made, prompted that in me to say, oh
Yeah, and
Lord,
it ties to that, that revelation that he gave you where he wanted you to walk through everything with joy. Like it really ties with that.
mhm,
That's what's so cool about what you're saying, like instead, like, because yeah, while you did focus on that or whatever, like he brought you to a point where, and that's where you're at now. See, like, okay, for instance, that, right? Like you didn't
mhm,
ask it, you didn't, okay, he pulled you out of that, remember? Like, so he showed you
mhm,
something big, like you were asking to be killed, but then also you realized, like it wasn't because you asked him. Like he showed you that he wanted you to not only go through the fire, but he wanted you to go through the fire with joy. You know how
right,
cool is that?
right,
And like you just were so
right,
excited because anytime we get those like revelations, we're just like,
I
one, it
love
makes that
that.
he tells us and he loves us that much. You're just like, it's, you can't ever get tired of that, right? It's just amazing. And then of course that made it happen to where it was almost like she was excited to be able to still have it, even though you are healed, because she got to redo. She was like, okay, I'm going to do it this time, and I'm going to have joy for all those things that you just said. Because like
right,
exactly what you just said, I think that's probably why that's even on your mind, because there was a time where it's not that you forgot them, but you were letting something outweigh them. But remember, what
right.
did he do? He showed you, like, and you were like, whoa. He's amazing. He pulls us out of it.
Yes, and at the
Yeah.
same time, though, I understood that that joy could not come from myself. So at the very same
Right.
time that he was showing me that I did need to have joy as I was going through a trial, at that very same time, I just cried out to him and I was like, Lord, how? I don't know how to do this. I can't
Right.
do it on my
Yeah.
own. I need your joy. You need to give me that joy. And lo and behold, it was a miracle. He did give me
Yeah.
that joy where
I love
I
that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love
it
it.
did not come from me. It was not
Yeah.
mine. He gave it
Right.
to me. He put that joy in me.
Have
And
you
so
guys
I
Right.
was
ever?
able to
Have you
go
guys ever
through
had?
it
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
having joy the way he wanted me to,
Right.
you know?
Right.
I'm so
Hmm.
sorry
I
to
love
hear
that
that. Have
so
you
much.
guys ever had like so much joy from him that you're just like totally giggly and you can't like stop laughing? You're so happy,
Yes,
Stephanie.
like
he's present.
right? No, but like I get like that, like a lot. Like I'm just so happy. Think about
Oh,
what
that's
we
cute.
want.
Yeah.
It's like way better than winning the lottery, right? Like
Uh,
absolute perfect health, absolute perfection. We get to be with him forever. Like I mean everything. Like we get everything.
I'm
It's
only
really, and the
amazing,
only way, because really, the world can't take it from us, right? It can't, because it
right?
didn't give it to us. Like, our circumstances can't take it from us, because it wasn't that everything was going great that brought the joy, right? Like, it wasn't because, you were just caught up on your bills, your kids were acting perfect. You know what I mean? It wasn't that, right? It's the joy of the Lord, right? So it's just such an amazing thing where it can even help you check to see if you're kind of like in not a good place, because if that's not there, there's something wrong, because it it's it's only
Right.
because you're letting something else matter. You know what I mean? So it's amazing, because it is just with us, and it's from him. He's gonna just take it away, right? And really, the only way it would go away is if we're letting something else, become bigger than what he's already done, right? Because the truth is like, I mean, we get to wake up every single day, like every day, and it's real. And there is actually
Yeah.
a loving Father who loves us, right? So we wake up to Him. He wants to have a relationship with us so badly that, you know, he sacrificed His Son. It's like, and then we get to have this like personal relationship. We don't have to worry about a thing. Like we get to literally give all of our burdens to Jesus. He carries all of them, right? And with that, you know, we're not just burying our head in the sand. Like we it's the faith. Like we are living. It's a way of life. Like the way we respond to things. You know, it's not having faith in circumstances. It's that's why, you know, in certain times it says, you know, living the faith. Like there's a the in front of it. Like it is a way of life, right? And so, you know, like literally, we have absolutely nothing to worry about. Like there is someone who loves us and everybody else that we care about so much more than we possibly could. So we don't have to even worry for them, right? And if they don't know Him yet, we are praying for them, so we know they will. Like this, everything. It's amazing, you know. And if that doesn't make someone happy, then I don't know, you know.
Mhm.
It's too good to be true.
Right. Yeah, I was laughing because I called Stephanie up or texted her, or it was like, I had one of those moments where there was just almost too much, almost too much
Right.
That's so great. I love that. It's like you can't hold it in. You know, it has to come out, and people will see it. It's joy that you could see. I mean, it's so amazing. Like I'm still like every day when I think about it, it still seems like so too good to be true, but it is. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
know.
uh,
Right.
how could you not be happy? Like, of course, I wake up, my neck hurts, I'm tired, right, or whatever, and I don't get a lot of sleep, right? Those feelings are still there, but that joy is there too. You know. And so, even though I deal with normal everyday stuff, right? That joy, or like, you know, it keeps me going, you know?
Right. I love that.
I know
Sorry, I'm.
that
If you
does
guys
it.
hear
That's like
loudness, I'm walking
your
into a store.
fuel, joy
Yeah.
fuel. We run on joy.
Right. And I mean, and it truly is like what you said, though, Stephen. Like it really does. I mean, it serves a person too, because it's not just for us. Like, it serves others, because that is what they're supposed to see. People are supposed to be able to look at us and see hope and joy, right? And so it's not one of those things where, you know, and it's by nothing that we did, right? So it's and it's for everyone. So it's not like, you know, if someone's not experiencing that right now. It's not like, oh no, I haven't. Just the fact. I mean, even really knowing that that's possible, right there, should give you hope and joy, right?
Right.
But it's once you realize, like, I mean, he tells us, like, you know, one, we have peace beyond all understanding, and that, you know, that um oh, sorry, I'm holding joy of the Lord. And I mean, okay, so we just know, like, he tells us that is how it is supposed to be, right? So when we know that, instead of being upset if, like, if we're not at that place, hey, instead we hi, how are you? I'm doing this room. I'm sorry. How's your puppy?
Okay.
Is he good? What happened to your hand? Did you
I
fall
always
here at
picture
work?
her. I always picture her chopping
Where'd you
vegetables,
fall
and
at?
you know.
Are you okay?
Well, you know, I just have, you know, these are all fruits of the spirit: love,
Right.
joy, peace, long
Yeah.
suffering, gentleness,
Were
goodness,
they not letting
faith,
you take off?
meekness, temperance. All these things are the fruits of the spirit. Now, we can't, I mean, they are not something that none of those come from us, not one of them. And so every single one of them, just like when, you know, God had that, gave me that revelation about how I am supposed to be walking through this trial with
Yeah.
joy, whether, you know, like, it's a trial. I have to learn how to walk through it with joy, but I'm not going to learn on my own. So that's when I called out to Jesus and just said, I need that joy. And you can, I mean, do that with any of those fruits of the spirit, and they're going to, you're going to receive them if you have faith, you're
Yeah.
going to receive them, because
Sorry.
he wants to have, you know, we're supposed to walk around with this fruit,
Yeah.
and, you know, we're supposed to have this fruit. It's just part of the, you know, the Christian life. And so, but it's going to be given, you know, we're going to receive more, you know, he
Yeah.
is, you know, if you look for it, if you want it, then all you got to do is just realize that, like maybe it's something that you need, and just call out to him and say, I need that. I need that. I want more faith. I need,
Want more joy, want
yeah,
more happiness, want more patience.
right. But also he's going to give it to you. I believe, I don't know. Like, I think that your meat comes in due season. So when you are ready for it, when you understand who you are in God, when you understand what, at the right time, he's going to let that, happen. And he's going to give you revelation at that same time of why or how to apply it. Or does that make sense?
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, no, you said it right. And it's like, but it's always going to be like, it's through our relationship with him. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. Like, we can hear about it, we can read about it, we can be around people that have it, but unless we ourselves get to a point, I mean, like, where we are speaking to him, just, I mean, and it's not like in a way where, out of guilt or anything. Like, you just start talking to him, like, that is everything. Like, that's what he wants. Like, he wants to have this relationship with you. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, like, say you're driving, would you just sit in the car with your friend or your spouse and not say a word the whole drive? That, like, it's weird. Like, he's right there, he's waiting for us to speak to us. So I mean, just,
Wow,
it's,
that's a good
just,
analogy.
yeah, just like, oh, we just speaking to him, and he really is there. Like, you will know, you will, like, there's no way, like, if you keep seeking him, you go in your bedroom, you shut the door, and you're just like, hey, and you just know he's there. Like, you are going, he will respond. Like, you will know, you will feel him, you will know he's there. Like,
Yeah.
he's, the fact that we even, like, when we are seeking him, if anything, should give us like a big leap of faith to know that he really wants it. If we have any doubt, the only reason we are seeking him is because he's calling us, right? Like, no one goes to him except those who are called. So that right there, that lets you know, that should take away all doubt. Like, man, why would he want to talk to me? Or like, that should push all that out the window, because it's not like we just woke up and we're like, you know what, I want to find God, and he's like, no, I don't really want to deal with you. It's really him. It's him calling you. So that's where everything comes from. It comes from relationship, and then through the relationship, you realize how much he loves you, right? And then once you realize how much he loves you, then your faith is going to grow. And once your faith grows, then the transformation begins. Like, it's all perfect because he's perfect.
I love that, because I also reading about the woman that came to him with with the daughter who had the evil spirit, that she wanted to get out of her. She wanted Jesus to, she was a Greek. She wasn't a Jew. And Jesus said, what did he say? He told her,
Scraps from something about.
is it meat? It's not fair to give what is, the
I,
children's to the dogs. And I've just been praying about that, and I didn't even say this. Like, I was just praying, and it's almost like he put the words in my mouth. I said, thank you for showing me that it's all about sitting at the table with you. It's all about sitting at the master's table and getting that bread of life. And I mean, that's not what that parable is
no,
necessarily
I love
about.
no. That's a revelation, because I love that. Like, I like when you said that. It just, wow, I love that, because no, you could get that from that, right? Like,
Right.
that's beautiful. I love that, and it is right. It really is like
Because
being with him at his table. I love that.
it is
Huh.
just sitting there, eating the bread of life, just being there with
Right.
him, sitting at the table with the master. And
And
that it was almost like when I was praying, he actually put those words in my mouth, because I stopped and I was like,
that wasn't from me. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. When you just know. Yeah, I
I
know.
didn't, I was like,
Yeah, I know, it's really funny. Because you just, like, you're like,
wow.
that's beyond me. I didn't know. I've never even
Right.
heard that or knew that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that.
So
That's
that
so
was
cool.
really cool. But yeah, that, I mean, that parable is totally about, just that woman who understood, who understood that she was not worthy. She was not worthy because she was not a Jew. She was not worthy, but God, Jesus wanted her to know that the kingdom is for everybody. It's just, you have to understand who you are in God, and you can only and so that's what the parable is about. But you can only understand who you are in God when you do sit down at the table with him and you do receive that bread of life. So that it was, I mean, it was amazing, but I was meditating on that for a long time, just praying like, Lord, I need to know what you want to tell me from this right here. And that's what, I mean, from what you're saying, Stephanie, is so true. You just sit down, you just read, you just ask him, and he's going to let
Yeah.
you know. It's cool.
And
It's
even how
really
you're,
cool.
even how, yeah, even how you're saying like how you talk to him, like that's actually how you talk, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
it's that simple. Like you don't change anything. Like he made you, right? He made us. Like I mean, the fallen part that was, we learned a lot from the world, but he during all this time he's just molding the clay and getting all that taken care of, right? But there's us in there, and he doesn't want us to be pretending or anything else, right? Like it's all about we just be ourselves, that we don't need to be worried about what to say, you know just going as we are and speaking to him, and not not trying to say what anybody else would say, just being yourself. And
mm-hmm,
that's what really starts the relationship, where you just really can look at him like your father, like it's just because it's that intimate.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And she was humble. She did humble herself, and she did have faith. That was
Yeah,
her.
I know.
That was her main thing. She was humble. She felt,
Well,
and she was
taking
also
into
very persistent at the same time. Because if you think about it, like the two that was in Mark and in Matthew. So I was going between the two, Matthew and Mark, just looking at it like that must have happened over a couple days, because it wasn't just like in one moment, because the disciples were like, look, Lord, she's starting to bug us or something, like she's going on, Lord, is there something, just send her away please, or something. I forget what they said exactly, but he was silent at first when she asked him. He remained silent, and I was like, Lord, why did you remain silent for a while? Well, I think that I, I'm I'm still like, I think that he was just wanting to stretch her faith, and probably just letting her just letting her come to a place where she could actually receive it, come to an understanding of like who she was, and that she did not, just letting her come to that place, what I'm talking about, where he gives you that, he's ready to give you that joy, he's ready to give you that faith, and he's always ready. But are you ready to receive it? Right.
what are you? What I like about that is that like he was willing to accept crumbs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it reminded me of the parable of the prodigal son, when he was willing to be a servant in his father's house, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I think being humble, because you're willing to do that, God will reward you with the full amount. Like you're at the right spot where I could give you everything.
I think it's a big key to opening up many blessings, is humbling yourself, or like letting the
Yeah.
Lord humble you. It's a big key to receiving blessings and spiritual. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more, it's beyond that too, because like, right, you reach a place where, I mean, and this is pre-born again, where it's where your heart is just, it's beyond broken, and there's this huge humility where you actually begin to seek, or you respond as he calls, whichever way that works, whatever way people think, but at that specific time. But it's amazing though, because the thing is as you really, it's not like you have to be like, okay, I want to be humble, right? Like you can't try, you can't force it. Like, yeah, you
Right.
can
Mm-hmm.
do things where, I mean, they're like, I you really, false humility is pretty easy to spot, right? Like you can kind of tell when someone's just doing it, right? But there's different humilities that is so different than, like, it's not even in front of people. Like it's a humility that's even between, like, just like you and God, and just this understanding where like not caring, like not caring if somebody says something, and like they're absolutely wrong, or accusing you something, right? Because, and you're just willing to not even say a word, so they don't know that you're being humble, right? But God does, because God,
Mm-hmm.
like, you just are like, what, it doesn't matter, and you know that he knows, and it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And so, like, that type of heart, like, it comes from knowing him and being with him, and it really is just like a direct, because he does everything, like he changes you, Like, I am so familiar. I know exactly who I am, right? I know who I was before. I know all of this is due to him. So there's nothing I would ever take credit for or would ever want to take credit for. Like, I just, it, he is, it's, he is obviously the one that did everything. I didn't have to do anything. Like, all I had to do was believe him. That was it, And so you know how amazing he is, Like, we're in all of him. So it's just us, like, being just overwhelmed by him and knowing that there's absolutely nothing at all that we could do without him. Right. And so if any other person isn't in that place, like, it's not going to be about anything else or about our ego. Like, we just want them to know God. So we're going to automatically, humility just becomes a part of us, right? Because it's only about the kingdom, right? So if we're only serving the kingdom, and we just know our place in that. Like, he's our father, but he is amazing. He is everything. He is holy. He's right. Like, it's mind blowing, right? Like, I'm very well aware of where I am in that. And I just, I'm just so grateful that he loves me, So I don't want people to hear that and think like, oh, like, where it's not about being humble, like, where I can't even think of it a way, but like in a situation, where you're just trying to, something happens and you could be, like, take the last seat or whatever because you want, that's all fine and good, but it's so much above that, right? Like, what he does is beyond that. It's like,
like when you're like, here, take the last piece of cake. You can have it, and like you want everyone to see you giving it to the person. It's so fake, right? Like that false humility. It's not about that. It's about really just not wanting that last piece because someone else could have it.
Well, I guess
like, why should you get it, right? It's like this change in heart where you just, he's given you everything, so there's nothing else that you could possibly know or want, right? Like you just, I mean, it's him. Like, that's what's so crazy. Like, he wants us to be humble, but he gives us that, like, it's crazy. We like gratitude, right? If we, as long as we're honest, like, I was at a point where I didn't feel as grateful, like, because I was like, he brought back a time when I was like just saying thank you for everything. Like, I had to get through this head thing because sometimes I'd feel silly. This is like at the beginning of the relationship, but I'd feel silly saying thank you for some things because I'd be like, well, like, he didn't make this straw. Like, he doesn't care if I have a straw. Like, a lot of different things would go through my mind, right? But he had to get me to a place where it doesn't matter exactly what it is. The point is literally everything I have is from him, right? The money I had to get the straw, the things that were made it's like, the point is to have great gratitude no matter what it is, even if it's, it's everything. So I got to that and I was saying thank you for things, but it wasn't like really, I wasn't really feeling like I was like it, like yet, right? But it wasn't like a method. I was just being led. And then, like, as it went on, like, I just really, like, I was so, like, it turned to true gratitude where I was like saying thank you and just, I mean, I can't explain what it, like, I really meant it. And it just draws you. You're so close to them. Like, it's I don't know. It's just a really big part, because if we lose that, then we really are, there's something that we get cut off. There's like a darkness that comes in if we lose our gratitude. I don't know what it is, but there's all these things that are just, there's something so much more spiritual in nature that it actually causes something. And our gratitude is a big part of that. Like, it really is. Like, we have to just having that and just understanding and realizing everything he's done for us and that he does for us on a daily basis.
I think a better way of saying it than of just being humble, because we cannot be humble unless God gives that to us and God makes us humble. God shows us how to be humble there, and like it brings us through a situation where we receive that from him. Like, he puts us face to face with pride and then removes that from us. But so I guess like a better way of looking at it is just walking in truth, because if you're walking in truth, you're not going to be, it's not like you're trying to be humble. You're actually,
exactly.
You're
like, not cherry picking the characters that we want to be, right? Exactly. Like, I want to be this quality. I want to be this quality. I want to do this quality. Instead, no, I want to be love, and love is all of those things, right? And that's what God is. So it's just like, because we also, like, if we're very honest, that's what happened with the gratitude, is because, like, if we really we can tell when we really feel something or not, right? And the only one that matters is God. So even if people think that we are truly humble and we're all this, that does not matter at all. Because like, I mean, if we do, well, it doesn't matter even if we are really meaning it, but even if we aren't, like, we can't let anything or anybody get in the way of the truth of what's going on. So like with the gratitude, I really like he gave me gratitude, right?
Right.
Like, do you understand how crazy that is? Like he gives me gratitude that I in turn like for him, and it was all because like just being, instead of trying to like fight it or justify it or anything, like, because it's truth, he wants us to be truthful about everything, and then he's
Accept
I
reality,
don't know, he just
basically.
yeah. Well, be honest and not be prideful. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
Right.
that, so there is pride in that. Like, but all these things come. So it's about all of it, right? But whenever you have this relationship with him and he's in you, you just, yeah, he's so amazing, and you actually see what
Isn't
love is.
it?
That those things are just a part of you.
But Stephanie, isn't it overwhelming, right? Like, okay, so when I finally realized just how big God really is, right? Not only is that straw his and the money and my idea to get the straw and the narrative and the whole world, right? It's like everything is, all of that is from God. And the more in sync with him I am, right? The more I will enjoy it. I'm a part of him. He's a part of me. We're in each other, right? It's more than just a relationship. It's like we're all part of each other. Like
Yeah.
it's not amazing, right? Like we're in here
Right.
because of him,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Oh, so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I just everyone to understand like that. Just it doesn't, it doesn't, because I just realized that like in the world, like there are people that say they're born again Christians, and there's other like different terms and things, and I just really, that there's not a limit in there. It's not just if you're not around people that are the way we're speaking, or you've never met, or you don't even think that it's true, or that it's not real. Like, please just seek him, because it is truly hard. I mean, like, really, we like God brought all us together from like across the United States.
Yes,
It is kind of sad how few and far between it is, but it's because a lot of people don't even realize that it's actually possible. Like they don't realize because of the lies of the world, and just the grasp that the world got into, even Christianity. Just all these different things. It's just, we don't even need to get into that, but I mean, it's all in the Word, and it's all in Him, and you know it's literally what we were made for. We are made just to have this relationship with him, and everything else is just a distraction. And I'm not saying like it's all horrible. Like, I mean, be grateful for all these things because they are from him. Life is a gift from him, but the ultimate gift is actually getting to be with him.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I was just like, Lord, too much who is given, you have all this time to be able to be spending. There's just so many distractions in the world. It just
yeah.
is. That's something that I really need to,
Crazy world.
yeah. But if that's what it's all about, it's spending time with him. Anything else is not worth our time. And I'm saying that because I need to, you know,
Separate.
I need to understand that, and it needs to sink in, because anything is just a waste of time. It's all about keeping your eye single and not
Yeah.
you know thinking about or looking towards the other things, like, yeah, things that are not of him, basically. So I'm just telling myself that, you guys. Sorry.
No, but it's so
I'm talking to
great.
myself.
But like it's so great, but it's also like, contrary to everything that we learned from this world, right? Is to like separate from the world. Like we're not in there anymore. Like we're here, but we're not of it, right? And it's like, yeah, we're in this environment, but not all of it is for me, right? Like we, if we separate and have our relationship with him, we have a possibility of maybe having some of our loved ones come out of there with us, you know and then really this is just a stop, a very quick stop on our way to be with him. And so I'm always excited about that, but separating from the world is hard, right? Because it's like becomes like a movie. You know, you're
Mhm.
watching it happen, but you're not really part of it.
Mhm.
And so there is a little awkwardness there. And oh, she's gone. But you know, it's like there is a little awkwardness there. But it's like, you know, like you're saying, full of distractions and full of things that can like pull us away, you know, not on purpose, but just because, you know, we're raised in this environment, right? That that, you know, it's hard to know what reality is until you know God, you know. And let me invite her back real quick.
Mhm.
Hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, I sorry. My husband called and it takes away where you can't hear me, but I'm in the driveway, so I think that's why I called because I think he's letting me know the kids do see me, so I do need to
Okay.
get off.
Okay.
I didn't want to just bounce off and disappear, but thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having me
much.
on, and I love you guys. I meant to
Yeah.
say it this time to you.
This time it's
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
This time it's for you. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. I really do. I love you guys so much, and have a good night. Bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye,
Stephanie.
Steph.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you know what? I love that verse, "Streets of Gold." I love that verse, and you know, I was actually meditating on that verse the other day too, and it's just like, who makes salt salty? That's God. God makes salt salty.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I mean, he's the one who gives the salt its saltiness,
Savor.
its
Savor. Is that?
savor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, and so that's why we keep going to him for that flavoring, you
I
know.
like to think of that, right? That's a thing that I bring up a lot. Like I think the other day I mentioned like iron the other day, but like just any material on earth, right? There's information in that material, right? It all like say every piece of iron melts at the same temperature. All salt is salty, you know, like that information is in there, and it doesn't matter if you find it in California or in China, it's the same, right? And
Mm.
like that information had to exist before the thing could be a thing. And so like it's like there's all this intelligence behind the design that's so obvious now, right? All these things are
Mhm.
obvious that God has to be real, right? Things popping out of nowhere, the you know, because you know, it's just crazy. I mean, I can't believe what I used to believe. I
Mhm.
mean, I was very deceived by the world, like very deceived. Part of it, you
Oh,
know,
we all were.
you
We
know.
all were.
It's embarrassing to me, you know, but it's real. It's my reality, right?
Whenever I
Mhm.
talk to Bubba too, I just, you know,
It's so great.
he's a numbers guy. And
Yes.
so, you know, just the numbers that pop up and the connections. And Jake is like that too, where he's
Yeah.
connecting the numbers to, you know, in the Bible. You're just like, whoa, that is I don't know. I'm not a numbers person, but just
It's
I mean, even if
it's
you take it out
amazing.
of the Bible, like the Fibonacci and all that,
Yeah.
you know, all
Sure.
those numbers, and it's
Well, what about things that like we don't think about that often, right? But they make you go, you know, like okay, so we have men and women on this earth, right? Only two kinds of human, man and woman, you know, like regard whatever, right?
Mhm.
But it's usually around 50-50, right? Like it's close, right? It's not like there's 75% men and 25% women or whatever. No matter what people do to try to alter the population, there's always like, you know, an equal amount. Now, would that happen if we were just here naturally? Like, would it be so even? Like, I don't know. Like, you would think random things would happen, right? Like, it wouldn't be so perfect.
Right. Yeah. If there was this random explosion.
It's nothing heated up and then exploded and became everything. And it's still going. It's like so when God said he rested, you know, it's not because he was tired, it's because he was finished, right? God doesn't get
Yes.
tired, right? And so
Yeah.
all this ooga booga self-creating galaxy, I don't know what religion that is, but it's crazy though.
Yes. And Streets of Gold, I'm not into numerology. I used to be before I was born again.
A
That
little
was
bit
something.
street.
Yeah, that's something that I got into for a bit, but not anymore.
MOTB is the mark, my friend.
Mm-hmm. And I could also see what Bubba News is saying, that that they could actually put it, it says in the forehead. He was talking to me the other day and he said that it will probably be like almost like a bindi. I'm assuming that's what you meant, Bubba.
A bindi.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's like the red dot, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And how, well, that represents the third eye.
Right.
And if it goes in the forehead, well, why not?
Wow.
Especially over in that nation where the bindi is so popular. If it's
do you think that
and Madonna's wearing it over here? I mean, people love Madonna.
Well, and do you think that they could make that like, some kind of technology out of that, right? Because technology is so small.
Exactly.
Easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Easily they can make that into something that, does buying and selling and all that easily, right?
Yeah. I could definitely see that. I thought he was right on with that. Made total sense to me. I was just like, oh yeah, that, and how they've made the tattoos all over your face become fashionable, right? So you've got girls putting freckle tattoos on. You've got guys putting, face tattoos on. And so all this is preparing everybody to get ready to put something in their forehead or in their right hand.
I mean, that's so spooky. I would stay away from any of that stuff. Anything that represents a mark in the skin worldwide for everybody, like rich and poor, free and bond, I'm not getting it.
When I said that to the person that I was talking to, he goes, wait a minute. What is this?
Oh, no.
Yes. And I was like, it is, the Bible talks about it. All you got to do is, if you really want to know what's going to happen,
you can speak freely about it. Just no medical advice, and I'm good.
Right. Well, yeah. I can talk about it.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. You can. I don't mind.
Oh, because they.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But no medical advice for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't. Slow driver, you're right. It doesn't come till after we are raptured. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I mean, somebody like that who's watching a Tommy Lee, and I can't even say it because I'm just like, it's so foreign. And Pamela Anderson movie.
It's like, Pamela, is she still around?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be somebody who's going to want to know about this thing that is going to happen. And so,
he has no
when
idea.
I said it, he has just, he doesn't even have a clue. He does not have a clue. And he was like, so wait a minute, what is this now? Yes, you will. No. I know. That is how, that's what I had to tell him. But you know what, if he doesn't want to talk to me anymore,
terrifying to me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And, but if I'm praying for it, and, I just, and praying that God, wakes him up. And also just believing that there's not no reason, not no reason why God put me in his life to say something. I mean, maybe I was the first person, or, but maybe I was, just the second person or whatever, but I'm not going to be the last person probably, because, I'm kind of stepping back right now. So I'm just praying that for others to be sent in to talk to him about this until he wants to talk about it. So Yeah.
Wow, what a show. You guys did so good tonight.
Praise God.
The last show was good too. It was just next level. These last two were really great. And it's exactly what I needed for sure. I don't know if everybody got what they needed out of these last two ones from the night, but they were so great. So great.
Praise God. I had fun. Yes, it was really fun.
And so I will say it. It's time to hit the old dusty trail.
Thank you, Stephen.
And
Thank you,
so much
everybody.
also. Yes. And I mean, I might have panels this weekend, but I don't know if you want to pop on this weekend, you can too. Like, we'll
Okay.
figure it out.
I'm thinking like Saturday I might go down and do that thing again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It with Jake?
I don't know if Jake's gonna do it or not. I haven't talked to him,
I'm
but
so jealous, man, that you guys get to hang out. You know, I'm like,
cool.
oh, I
It's
want to hang
cool.
out. Like, God, remove this from my heart. That's jealousy, but I want to see all you guys. I want the rapture to be like, I mean, you know, of course, I go to Bubba for all my rapture news, but I want the rapture to be tomorrow, right? So I can meet all you guys, meet God, and see everybody, and just, I don't know, just that'll be such a great moment for me, you know. Like, I hope that it's the same for you guys, you know.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, that I know that part is going to be amazing for everybody, but I mean, just us meeting, you know, like, it's
Yes,
just going to be crazy.
it is. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be
Awesome.
crazy. You want to read
Beautiful.
that scripture before I round out this one
What?
here? You want me to do it?
Oh, who God causes them to believe the lie, and they will be condemned because they believe not the truth of Jesus Christ, but enjoyed wickedness and worldly pleasures too much. Exactly. Baba, that's what he's
Pray for
Yeah.
everybody that's in that condition, because like,
Amen. Amen.
but
Yeah.
it lets us know that it's a choice, right? Nobody gets tricked. It's not a puzzle, right? If you
Mhm.
want to go, you can, you know? And so we got to go to God with everything, and get people to him. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think that's everything.
You know, I read the KJV, but that's a really good right there. That's a good version right there to read to him because, or I'm done. What am I talking about? I'm done. Somebody else can read it to him. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
send it to him. I don't know. But yeah, yes, that's exactly what it is. Everybody enjoys wickedness in the world and just doing their, I mean, not everybody, but,
You know, but
there's a lot
what's
of that going
crazy?
on. Huh?
But you know what's crazy is, like, you know, if you take Second Thessalonians 2:11 off of there, right?
Mhm.
And you say, hey, Tom Brady said this, you know, there's people that would respond to that, you know,
Oh my
like, oh, really?
goodness.
Tom said that? Oh, okay, well then, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's just so insane, right? This world is just upside down. There's people
Mhm.
that throw a football that make $50 million, right? And people that
To
don't have enough to
distract
eat.
people, to distract them. That's
Yeah.
why.
Right. It's a circus. Remember the Roman circus? They brought the circus in to calm the people down, keep them from
Mhm.
looking at what's going on.
Is this verse 12, Bubba? They pray to God by saying no to him every time he answers their prayers and causes them to. No, it's not. No, that's not the verse 12. But it's what you just said is true. They pray to God by saying no to him every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All righty, guys. Well, thank you also for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank
It's a
you,
pleasure.
everybody. Yes.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God, because he deserves it. And pray for the children. Pray for anyone being victimized out there, and pray for each other. It's important. And I will see you guys, Lord willing, at tomorrow at 7 a.m. This time for real 7 a.m. is because it's Saturday. And I will try not to like sleep before the show and not know that. So I just want to say thank you to you guys, you know. And man, this has been like a super good last part of the week. Amazing. Like I needed this, you know. And so praise God and thank you. And I love you guys. All right. See you guys tomorrow.